Welcome to The Explainer. We're all about taking complex sources and breaking them down into something you can really sink your teeth into.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with this pretty wild idea. The idea that everything, and I mean everything, from holy books to, well, Coca-Cola, started out as just simple words on a page. But these aren't just any words. They're words with the power to literally shape our entire world.
And that right there, that's the core idea we're exploring today. The thought that words don't just, describe reality, they build it. This concept is the key, the absolute key, to unlocking the universe of author Dario M. Vergari. So what we're going to do is dive into 3 of his novels to see how this plays out.
So what exactly is the formative word? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The central theory here is that ideas, language, they aren't just passive descriptions of the world. Nope, they are active tools. In these stories, words are weapons. They're blueprints. Heck, sometimes they're basically spells, all rolled into one.
And you can see just how this plays out in some really different ways. You've got sacred texts in one book that literally spark a world war. Then there's just a simple, cryptic note that unravels this massive, deadly conspiracy. And get this, in another, you have musical frequencies, actual sound that creates a god and enslaves thousands. It's wild to see how one single idea can be twisted and explored across all these different genres, from a thriller to sci-fi to tech horror.
Okay, so if reality can be built, then you have to ask, who are the architects, right? Who's pulling the strings? Let's dig into that, because each novel gives us a totally different kind of puppet master.
And just look at the variety here. In Apro, you've got these mysterious shamans using ritual violence. Then in Phoenix, it's the people of the books with mass surveillance and censorship. And then, in Ravinion, you have a musician, a single guy named Drago, who uses sonic mind control to try and become a god. We're talking ancient cults, futuristic governments, and even a rock star.
So what's the one thing they all have in common? It's this absolute conviction, this belief that they and only they have the right to build the world for everyone else. Different methods for sure, but the goal is always the same: impose their reality on the rest of us.
All right, so what's driving these architects? What's the fuel for their fire? The stories really dig into this powerful clash between 2 major forces that people use to justify total control.
So on one hand, you have faith as the ultimate justification. In Phoenix, control comes from a divine mandate. The people of the books believe with absolute certainty that they are doing God's work, and that certainty? It was enough to start a holy war and build a whole new world order on top of the ashes.
And then you have the complete opposite. In Ravnian, control is all tech, no belief required. As the villain says, it's all very simple and clean. It's this cold, brutally efficient power from a device that just bypasses your free will and rewires your brain with sound. Kind of terrifying, right? And when you put them side by side like this, you really see something interesting. Faith demands absolute belief. Science, in this case, demands absolute obedience. One promises you salvation, the other promises order. But at the end of the day, they're both just instruments of absolute power. Just different languages to get to the same place.
Which really forces us to ask a tough question, doesn't it? When both systems demand your total submission, are they really all that different? Does it really matter if your cage is built out of prayers or out of algorithms?
But here's the thing, no matter how perfect this system is, someone always fights back. And the heroes in these stories, they're often the last people you'd expect. First up, we've got Cesare Serafini. He's an accountant, a totally normal, methodical guy. He's not some super spy, he's a numbers guy. But that's his superpower. He uses that precise, logical mind to follow a literal paper trail right into the heart of this terrifying ancient evil. Then you have Oberon Young. He's a brilliant physicist who is actually part of the system. He lives in this supposed utopia, this perfect world. But he's a scientist, right? He can't help but question things. And that curiosity, that's what makes him start to see the cracks in the whole facade. And finally, there's Mirko. He's a musician and artist, and he has to watch his own bandmate, his friend, take their beautiful art and twist it into a tool to become a false god. Talk about a tough spot to be in. He's left with this huge moral choice to make. So you see the pattern here, right? Even though their worlds are totally different, they all go on the same basic journey. First comes the discovery. They find some piece of the puzzle that just doesn't fit. Then comes the questioning. They actually dare to doubt the system. And finally, that leads to resistance. And their struggles,
This is what it's all about. This is why it matters. It really gets to the heart of some big questions, like how fragile is our own perception? What does it take to find your own truth? And can one person really challenge a whole system? It's really about the fight for your own mind, in a world that's always trying to shape it for you. And that's really the final thought these stories leave you with. It's a huge question. If words and ideas are powerful enough to build an entire world, does that mean they can also be used to tear one down? It's a question that goes way, way beyond the page, doesn't it?